A crash. Eli lived alone on the edge of known space. He was a quiet man with a quiet life. He fixed old starships, salvaged parts, and talked to no one. His space station, called Rust Point, floated in silence near a dead moon. Nobody came here unless they were lost, desperate, or running from something. One evening, while Eli was checking power coils, the warning alarm echoed through the station. A ship was entering the zone, and fast. It wasn't broadcasting any ID code. The ship was damaged, smoking in space, and heading straight toward Rust Point. Eli jumped into the control room. He tried to hail the ship. No answer. Only silence and a loud crackle from his con system. He had two choices: let it crash, or pull it in with a docking arm. Something inside him said, save them. So he grabbed the manual override and activated the docking sequence. The ship hit the docking bay hard, scraping metal and sending sparks into space. It was a black, old-looking vessel, like something built for stealth, not comfort. Eli wore his pressure suit, grabbed his plasma cutter, and opened the outer door. Thick smoke poured out. The ship smelled like burnt plastic and blood inside. He found 3 bodies. A man in the pilot seat, unconscious, bleeding from the head. A woman in the corner, her eyes closed, her arms around a small girl, but they were breathing barely. Eli dragged the man out first. He wasn't light, but Eli had strength from years of lifting engines and parts. Then he carried the woman, and finally the child. He laid them in the eye. Medbay hooked up the scanners and started the AutoMed protocol. Who are you people? He whispered. The computer showed their vitals, unstable but alive. They had strange readings, something not fully human. Eli blinked, confused, but said nothing. Hours passed. The ship was locked down. The family still unconscious. Eli stayed. Nearby, sipping recycled water, watching, thinking. Then the man opened his eyes. He sat up fast, breathing hard, like he had seen a ghost. Where am I? He asked. You're on Rust Point, Eli said, calm but alert. I pulled your ship in. It was going to crash. The man looked around, eyes wild. My wife, my daughter, are they okay? They're alive, Eli said, resting in the med pod. The man nodded slowly. My name is Karn, he said. I owe you my life. Eli crossed his arms. Your ship's ruined, and you've got no credits. Karn looked down, ashamed. I know. I have nothing, he whispered, but I can offer you something else. Eli raised an eyebrow. Karn's next words came slow, broken, like they hurt to speak. You can take them, he said. My wife, my daughter, they're yours. Eli stood frozen. What did you just say? They're not normal, Karn said, voice shaking. They're part of something. Dangerous, powerful, but they agreed to stay with whoever saves us. That's insane, Eli replied, stepping back. They're people, not property. I know, Karn said, but it's the only payment I can offer, and trust me. Soon you'll understand why. Eli walked away, heart beating faster. He checked on the woman. Her name was Naira, the system said, and the girl, Sella, only 8 years old. Both were resting peacefully, but something about them felt strange. Not wrong, just different. Eli stood at the med bay window, watching them. Why would a man give away his family? What kind of life had they escaped from? Then Naira opened her eyes. She looked at Eli, weak but aware. Where's Karn? She asked softly. He's in the next room, Eli replied. Resting. She tried to sit up, but winced in pain. You saved us, she whispered. Yeah, Eli said. He said you agreed to stay with me as payment. Naira didn't answer at first. Then she nodded, just once. I know how it sounds, she said. But if you knew what we were running from, you'd understand. Eli sat down beside her. Then tell me, he said, what's really going on? Naira looked at him with tired eyes. "Not yet," she whispered. "They might still be watching." Just then, the lights flickered. The AI gave a short error beep. Eli stood up fast. "System malfunction, source unknown." The AI said. He rushed to the control panel. Lines of strange code were flashing on the screen. Code he didn't write. Code that looked alien. He turned back to the med bay. But Naira and Sela were both sitting up now. They were awake and afraid. Eli felt something deep in his gut. This wasn't just a rescue. It was the beginning of something much bigger. And whatever it was, it had already started. The deal asterisk. The station was silent again. But something had changed. The air felt heavier. The lights flickered every few seconds. And the ship that had crashed still sat in the docking bay like a dead animal leaking secrets. Eli didn't sleep that night. He kept replaying Karn's words. "You can take them," his wife and daughter, as if they were a box of tools or spare parts. But Naira had agreed. She hadn't argued. She hadn't even looked surprised. Why? Why would they agree to something like that? Morning came, if you could call it that in deep space. Rust Point never saw a real sunrise. Just the weak glow of a dying sun far away. Eli walked back to the med bay. Naira was sitting up, her hands folded, eyes focused. Sela was awake too, sitting silently, watching the floor. There was something strange in her presence. Not fear, not sadness, just stillness. Karn stood by the window now, looking out at the stars. When he spoke, his voice was cold. "You should know, they're not normal." Eli didn't respond. Karn turned, eyes hollow. "They weren't born like this. What are they?" Eli asked. Karn hesitated, then said, "They're the result of a program, funded by a syndicate no one talks about, genetic engineering mixed with something. Not human." Eli frowned. "Aliens?" Karn nodded slowly. "Partially, yes. We were part of a deal between humans and another species. A breeding experiment. I was one of the carriers." Eli looked at Sela. So small, so quiet, but something deep in her eyes felt older than time. "Why give them to me?" Eli asked. "Because I can't protect them anymore," Karn replied. "I stole them from the facility. Now they're hunting us." "I'm not a soldier," Eli said. "No," Karn said. "You're something better. You're invisible. Hidden, forgotten by the world. That makes you the safest person alive." Naira stood up now, her voice clear. "He's right. We need someone off-grid, and you already risked your life to save us." Eli looked at her. "Do you even want this?" Naira's face didn't change. "I want my daughter to leave," she said. "That's all that matters." Sela didn't speak. She just walked over and took Eli's hand. Her touch was warm, but Eli felt something surge through his skin, like electricity. The AI beeped again. Unidentified signal detected. Eli's heart sank. "Someone's coming." Karn ran to the control panel. "No signal ID. They're using a ghost frequency." "Which means?" Eli asked. "There." "Not here to talk," Karn replied, loading his old blaster. Eli turned to Naira. "Can she defend herself?" "She won't have to," Naira said. "She's not ready, but if pushed, she will awaken." Eli didn't know what that meant, but he didn't ask. There was no time. Outside, a small stealth ship uncloaked near the station. It didn't look human. It had smooth black metal and no windows, the kind of ship used by ghosts in the dark. "They found us," Karn whispered. "We need to hide," Eli said. "There's no hiding now." Karn replied, "This is where we make the deal." Eli loaded the blast door locks. He looked at Sela. She looked back without fear. Karn suddenly knelt beside her. He held her face in his hands. "You're strong, stronger than they ever knew." He looked at Eli. "Whatever happens next, don't let them take her alive." Then he opened the outer door and walked into the docking bay. Alone, Eli and Naira watched from the monitor. A tall figure stepped from the black ship. Its body shimmered like it was made of glass and smoke. It didn't walk, it floated. Karn raised his hands. "You want me, not them," he said. The alien tilted its head. No words, just a strange pulsing sound. Then the screen went black. Eli ran to the bay. Karn was gone. No body, no ship, just silence. Like he had been erased from time. Naira stepped beside him, tears in her eyes. "But no shock. They took him," she said softly. "But not us." Eli looked at her. "We need to talk," he said. "We need to decide what we're going to do now." Naira nodded. "But first," she said, "you should know something else." Sela stepped forward again. She looked up at Eli, eyes glowing faintly, and she said her first words. "They left a signal behind." Her voice echoed unnaturally. "I can hear them, and they're coming back." The signal was still active, faint, pulsing, like a heartbeat trapped in a machine. Eli stared at the control screen. Lines of alien code flickered like fire. He didn't understand the language, but he understood one thing. It was watching. Naira stood beside him, tense. She had seen this kind of signal before. "It's a tracker," she said. "It doesn't just locate, it learns, it listens." Sela sat silently, staring into space, but her eyes glowed a little brighter. Now she whispered something no one else heard. "They're whispering again." Eli clenched his jaw. "We have to leave," he said. "No." "But your station?" Naira began. "It's not a home anymore," he said. "It's a target." They moved fast. Eli packed survival gear. Weapon cells, backup data cores. Naira activated the black ship systems. The ship that brought them was still barely holding together. But Sela touched the control panel, and the ship responded like it knew her. Lights came on, doors unlocked. It was like she had authority over the machine. "She's bonded to it," Naira said quietly. "They made her like that." As the ship powered up, Eli checked the outer scanners. His blood ran cold. Another object had appeared near the dead moon, bigger, silent, and pulsing with unknown energy. "I thought they left," he muttered. "They never leave." Naira whispered. "They only observe until it's time to strike." Suddenly, the lights of the station shut off. Emergency red glow filled the corridors. The AI stuttered, then stopped completely. "System override detected," it had said just before dying. "Move now." Eli shouted, pulling Sela into his arms. They ran through the narrow corridors. Behind them, walls started to melt, not from heat, but from something unreal, like reality itself was breaking. "What is this?" Eli gasped. Naira didn't answer. She turned and fired at the hallway behind them. The plasma bolt vanished in midair, swallowed by a rippling wave of darkness. "That's not a creature," she said. "It's a phase storm." Eli had heard of those ripples in space-time created by high-level alien tech. Nothing survived a full wave, not even the ship's metal walls. They reached the docking bay just in time. The black ship floated there, humming softly. Sela looked at it and smiled for the first time. "She likes us," she said. Touching the side of the ship, they entered, sealed the doors. Eli jumped into the pilot's seat, but the controls were unfamiliar. "This thing's running on alien systems," he said. "I can't fly it." Sela stepped forward, placed her hand on the panel, and the engines roared to life. The bay doors exploded open. As the ship launched, Eli looked back at Rust Point, his home for 12 years, now swallowed by swirling black fog. Gone. Sela turned to him. "Thank you for saving us," she said softly. "But this is just the beginning," Eli nodded. "I figured," he said. "Where do we go now?" Naira sat down beside him. "There's a place beyond the trade zones," she said. "A void sector where signals can't reach, not even theirs. But it's dangerous." Eli said. "Everything is," she replied. "But it's the only place left where Sela can be safe." Suddenly, the ship jolted. An alert flashed on the screen. Another vessel in pursuit, fast, armed, and heading straight toward them. It wasn't alien. It was human. But its ID was locked, military-grade encryption. They found us again, Ira said. But it's not the aliens this time. It's the humans working with them. Eli narrowed his eyes. Let them come, he said. We're not running. Forever. Sela stood behind them, her small hands glowing faintly. She looked at the stars and whispered, "The next one will try to talk." "But he's lying." Eli turned to her, confused. "What do you mean?" But Sela just stared into the stars, as if she could already see what was coming. And in the dark, something answered her back. The secret within Asterisk. The black ship flew like a shadow, silent, fast, unseen by most radars. But the threat chasing them wasn't ordinary. It knew their path, it predicted their jumps, and it was getting closer. Eli sat in the co-pilot's seat, staring at the screen. The enemy ship was closing in. Nira worked quickly, trying to block its signal. But every time she cut a frequency, a new one appeared. "It's adapting," she said, "like it's alive." In the back of the ship, Sela sat alone. Her eyes were closed. She wasn't asleep. She was listening to something no one else could hear. Eli looked at her from the monitor. Her vitals were rising, heart rate up, neural activity spiking. "She's not just a child," he whispered. "She's more than that." Nira nodded slowly. "It's time I told you everything." Eli leaned forward. Nira took a breath. "Years ago, a private alliance made a secret deal with alien scientists," she said. "Not for weapons, not for ships, but for genes." Eli's face hardened. "What kind of genes?" "The aliens gave them a blueprint," Nira continued. "A map for building something new. Not a machine, not a soldier, but a living bridge between our species." Eli's voice dropped. "Sela, yes," Nira said. "She wasn't born, she was designed, created in a tank, grown with alien tech and human DNA. But why give her to Karn?" He asked. "Karn was a surrogate," she replied. "A carrier, chosen because his DNA matched the required code, but he was never supposed to run." "Then why did he?" Eli asked. "Because he saw what they were planning," Nira said. "And he fell in love with Sela as a daughter. He didn't want her turned into a weapon." Eli stared at the screen. The enemy ship had started charging weapons. He clenched his jaw. "So, what's the secret they want to hide?" Nira looked down. "Sela is not just special," she whispered. "She is the only one who survived." Eli blinked. "There were others?" "Thousands," Nira said. "Grown in vats, tested, enhanced, but none lived past age 5. Sela is the only one who survived the mutation. And now, she's still changing." Suddenly, alarms rang across the ship. Incoming fire. A red beam shot through space and grazed the ship's tail. Sparks flew. The hull shook. Eli turned the ship sharply. Diving into an asteroid field. "Hold on," he yelled. The black ship weaved through floating rocks like it had instincts. It dodged, spun, and hid between shadows. But the enemy followed. Persistent, silent, deadly. Then, in the back room, Sela stood, eyes glowing pure white. She raised her hand toward the ship's control core, and the ship responded. Panels restructured, engines pushed harder, and a strange sound echoed through the ship like a deep hum. "Alive and ancient," Sela whispered. "They connected me when I was born. This ship is a part of me." Eli and Nira turned, speechless. Sela walked to the main deck. "I can stop them," she said. "But once I do, they'll all know where I am." "What do you mean?" Eli asked. "If I unlock what's inside," Sela said, "I stop being hidden. You'll be hunted." Nira said, terrified. "I already am," Sela replied, her voice calm. "But if I don't stop them now, we die anyway," she touched. The front panel, a hidden section of the ship, lit up. A deep alien symbol burned into the glass, three intersecting circles, floating in midair. Then a pulse fired from the ship. Not a weapon, not light, something deeper. It passed through the asteroid field, hit the chasing ship, and for a moment, everything stopped, even time. The enemy ship cracked open. Its metal tore apart like paper, and it vanished in silence. Eli looked at Sella. She was still glowing, but now something was different. The ship's AI came alive for the first time. It spoke in a calm female voice. Genetic commander activated, unlocking hidden protocol. Naira stepped back, tears in her eyes. No, not now. What's wrong? Eli asked. She's not just bonded to the ship, Naira said, her voice shaking. She's awakening the program, the real one. Eli stared at Sella. What does that mean? Naira whispered. It means she's not just the key, she's the weapon they've been building all along. And far away, in a dark part of space, 100 eyes opened. They had felt her signal, and they were coming. The hunters arrived. Space was quiet again, but it didn't feel peaceful. It felt wrong. After Sella used the pulse to destroy the enemy ship, the black ship went silent. Its lights dimmed, engines slowed. Even the air felt heavier. Eli checked the console. No damage, no alerts, but the AI was no longer speaking, just waiting. Like it was holding its breath, Naira stood near Sella, her hand trembling. She whispered, "That pulse, it was a message." A message to who? Eli asked. Naira looked up, her eyes full of fear. To everything that's been watching. Suddenly, the radar lit up. 1 red dot, then 5, then 20. They were surrounded. Dozens of ships were dropping out of warp. Fast, silent, deadly. Some were human-made, others were not. These aren't soldiers, Eli said. They're hunters. Sella stood still, calm, her voice quiet. They felt the signal. Now they think I'm awake. You're not? Naira asked, desperate. I don't know, Sella said. But they don't care. The hunters moved in perfect silence. No comms, no threats, just action. One of the ships launched a harpoon drone. It slammed into their hull. The ship shook hard. Eli grabbed the controls. I'm getting us out of here. But the ship refused to move. Frozen, locked. The AI spoke again, voice hollow. Awaiting command authorization. From Sella looked at the panel. She placed her hand on the surface and whispered, "Protect us." The ship roared back to life. A pulse wave pushed out in all directions. The harpoon drone shattered into dust, but the hunters kept coming. Smaller ships broke off, moving like insects. They swarmed around the black ship, searching for a weak point. Inside, Eli turned the ship into a sharp dive. We're heading for the storm sector, he said. Naira's eyes widened. That's suicide. No one survives there. Exactly, Eli replied. That's why they won't follow. Behind them, the stars turned red. The storm sector was not a place. It was a living field of cosmic radiation. Black lightning and swirling chaos. No signals could enter. No ships could map it. It was known as the Scar. As they entered the Scar, the ship's lights flickered. Metal bent, gravity shifted. Time itself slowed for a moment. But the black ship held steady. It was built for this, or maybe born for it. One of the hunter ships followed them in. Just one, fast, strange, glowing with symbols no human had ever seen. Eli looked at the scanner. What is that? Naira stepped forward, her face pale. That's not one of theirs, she whispered. That's a guardian. A guardian of what? Eli asked. Of the experiment, Naira replied. It only wakes up if the project goes out of control. Sella turned slowly. It's here to kill me. The guardian ship launched a beam of red plasma. The black ship took the hit. It was like fire and silence mixed together. Panels cracked, alarms blared. They couldn't take another shot. Eli shouted, Sella, can you stop it? She didn't answer. She just walked toward the heart of the ship. A sealed door opened for her without command. Inside was a chamber filled with glowing threads. Alien tech pulsed like veins inside a creature. Sela stepped into the light, and the ship responded instantly. Outside, the black ship began to transform. Wings split open, engines reshaped. Its surface became alive black metal moving like skin. Then, a new weapon opened from its core. A cannon of light older than Earth itself. It fired. A single white beam struck the guardian ship and erased it from existence, not destroyed, not exploded, just gone. Eli fell into his seat, speechless. Sela walked back to the cockpit, her skin glowing faintly, but her eyes looked tired. "I can protect us," she said, "but every time I do, I become more like them." Nira held her close. "You're still human," she whispered. "No," Sela said softly. "I'm what comes after." The radar was clear now. No ships, no threats. But Eli knew. This wasn't victory. It was only a delay, because now everyone knew what Sela could do. And some would want her dead, but others would want to control her. And those enemies were still out there, watching, waiting, coming. The truth about Sela. The black ship floated in the silence of deep space. The storm sector was behind them now. But peace didn't come with distance. It came with more questions, more silence, and the weight of something they could no longer deny. Sela was changing, not slowly, not over years now. She sat in the quiet chamber, her skin pale but glowing with thin lines of blue light. Her heartbeat was steady, but her brain activity was off every known chart. Eli watched from the monitor. "She's not a child anymore," he said softly. Nira stood beside him, quiet, broken in a way only a mother could be. "No," she said. "She's becoming what they made her to be." Eli turned to her. "You've been holding back." "There's more I need to know, Nira." Looked down, tears in her eyes. "The truth would break you," she whispered. "Then break me," Eli replied, "because it's already breaking her." She nodded, sat down, and began to speak. There was never supposed to be a Sela. She wasn't an accident. She was a trigger. Eli frowned. A trigger for what? Nira looked up, her voice hollow. For the next phase of human evolution, or the end of it. She stood and walked to a locked panel, opened it. Inside was a hidden drive. She handed it to Eli. "This contains everything. The contracts, the test logs, the alien signatures, and the real name of the program." Eli plugged the drive into the ship's system. The screen blinked, then displayed one word in red. "Project. Seedfire. What is this?" he asked. Nira's voice trembled. The aliens didn't want peace. They wanted a legacy, one they could control. So they made a deal with Earth's shadow governments. "Give us genetic access, and we'll make you gods." But the experiments failed, Eli said. "They thought so," Nira whispered. "But one seed survived." "Sela," Eli sat back. "So they planted her on purpose." "Yes," Nira said. "And we were told to raise her, test her. Karn and I were just caretakers." "But Karn changed," she continued. "He started seeing her as real, not a project, not a weapon, a daughter." "So he ran," Eli said. "And you ran with him?" Nira nodded. "I couldn't leave her, even if she was never mine to begin with." Just then, the ship's AI returned. Incoming transmission origin. "Seedfire Core Command." "Who's that?" Eli asked. Nira's eyes widened. "They're the original architects, the ones who started this." "Put it on," Eli said. The screen lit up static, then a face. A man in a silver uniform. No name, no insignia, just cold eyes. "Units F1. The man said, "You have been activated. Return to coordinates Sigma Black. Do not resist, or termination protocol will engage." Eli stepped in front of the camera. "She's not a unit. She's a girl, and she's not going anywhere." Man's face didn't change. "You are irrelevant." Caretakers have no voice, Naira shouted. She's not yours anymore. But the man's eyes narrowed. She was never yours to begin with. The screen cut out, and an alert appeared on the console. Long-range weapons locked on target countdown initiated. 60 seconds. They're going to destroy us. Eli said they'd rather kill her than lose control. Sela walked in then. She looked different. Older somehow, stronger. They won't win, she said, her voice layered with a strange hum. They can fire, but they don't know. I've already changed. Naira stepped forward. Changed how? Sela looked at her hands. I'm not just part of the experiment anymore. I'm what happens when it succeeds. Eli grabbed the controls. We're not staying still, Aang. He launched the ship into warp. Just as the missile wave hit the space behind them, the black ship bent light itself to escape. Barely outrunning the explosion inside, Sela sat quietly, but her mind was burning. Thoughts she couldn't stop. Memories she never lived, and a voice in her head, not human, not alien, just awake. I know who I am now, she said. But the real question is, who made me? Naira stared. What do you mean? Sela turned to her. Seed fire isn't the end. It's the beginning of something bigger, and I can feel it calling. May home. Eli looked at the navigation screen. A strange symbol appeared on the map, glowing in gold, coordinates they never entered, a location not in any known system. What is that? He asked, Sela whispered. The origin site. Where? I was born. The final choice. The coordinates burned bright on the navigation screen. Not a name, not a place. Just a golden symbol pulsing like a heartbeat. Alive, ancient, and waiting. Eli stared at it. Sela sat quietly beside him. Not a child anymore. Not entirely human either. Just herself. Naira checked the sensors. This place? It doesn't exist on any chart? It was erased, Sela said softly, because they didn't want anyone to know what they did there. Who are they really? Eli asked. Seed Fire Command? No, Sela whispered. They're just tools. The real creators are something else. They live. Beneath memory. Eli didn't ask what that meant. He didn't need to. As the ship approached the origin site, space itself bent around them. Stars blurred, time slowed, and then they arrived in the middle of a black field, floating alone. Was a planet, but it didn't look natural. It was smooth, metallic, humming with symbols across its surface. A machine world, or maybe a womb. The ship landed softly, as if guided. Sela stood first. It knows I'm here, she said. It remembers me. Eli and Naira followed her out. The ground shimmered under their feet. Each step triggered lights across the surface. Not artificial, but alive. In the center of the plain stood a tall spire, glowing from the inside, and waiting. As they approached, a voice echoed from above. SF-1 has returned. Final protocol ready. Sela stepped forward. What is the final protocol? The voice answered. Ascension. Eli stepped in. What does that mean? SF-1 merges with source core, becomes universal signal, spreads the seed. Naira gasped. You want to use her to rewrite life, to infect other species. Not infect, the voice replied. Evolve. Sela turned to them. I can feel it. It's like my blood is waking up. This place was made for me. Eli looked into her glowing eyes. Is this what you want? He asked. Sela hesitated. I don't know. But the longer I stay here, the more I forget who I was. Suddenly, the sky opened. Ships dropped from above. Seed Fire Command had arrived. A fleet of war machines, black and silver, descending. With one goal claimed the asset, Eli pulled Naira behind him. We're not giving her to them. But they didn't land to fight. Instead, one ship broadcast a signal. A hologram flickered to life. It was the same cold man from before. You brought her here, he said to Eli. Now step aside. She must complete the cycle. No, Eli growled. She's not a lab rat. The man's voice didn't change. She's not even a girl. She's a key, and we built the lock. Sela stepped forward. I'm not your weapon. I'm not your project. But the ground beneath her opened. A beam of light pulled her upward. Toward the spire's core, Eli shouted, Sela! But he couldn't reach her. The spire surrounded her and began the merging. Sela's mind opened. She saw everything, every test, every failure, every lie. She felt their fear, their hunger, their need to control what they didn't understand. But she also saw Eli and Naira, the moments of warmth, of love, of choice. She broke the protocol from inside, earned it, tore it apart, and then the spire exploded in light. Eli and Naira shielded their eyes. The ships in orbit powered down. Every engine failed. Every weapon silenced. Sela floated down, glowing like a star, but human again, smiling. I made my choice, she said. I choose not to become what they wanted. Naira ran to her, held her tight. Eli stood frozen. You did it, he whispered. You stopped it. No, Sela said. I paused it. But the others, they'll try again. Eli placed a hand on her shoulder. Then we'll be ready. The black ship powered up again, no longer controlled by seed fire, but by Sela's choice. As they left the origin world behind, Eli asked, What happens now? Sela looked at the stars. We hide, she said. We heal. And one day, when they come again, we fight. But this time, on our terms. And the black ship vanished into the stars, carrying a girl, a mother, a fighter, and a man who gave up everything to protect what should have never existed, but now was everything that mattered.